Do you play chess? Of course I do. If you like politics, it's not the worst idea, really. The game is 1,500 years old, but it keeps showing up among today's politicians.
I don't think he's much of a chess player.
I will not allow middle-class families to be treated like pawns on a chessboard.
To quote Vladimir Putin, chess makes men wiser and clear-sighted. Women don't need chess, apparently. As for the chessboards themselves, there are few more complex than the Middle East. Just ask Mayor Pete.
When you're dealing with the Middle East, you need to think about the next and the next and the next move. This is not checkers.
That was in response to a question about the U.S. killing of Quds Force chief Qassim Suleimani, the second most powerful man in Iran. Not anymore. Trump ordered it after an Iranian-backed militia killed a U.S. contractor. But Pete's reference raises a bigger point. Even if it was a Denzel ripoff from Training Day,
The chess, it ain't checkers.
when it comes to moving pieces around the board, Iran's been using the old Queen's Gambit. Or was it the Sicilian defense? The Ruy Lopez, the Cairo Khan. I can do this all day long. But my point is, Iran has long looked to best U.S. strategists over what really matters to Tehran. And it's not about killing Americans. Instead, one, it's negotiations over its nuclear program and ending sanctions. After Soleimani's assassination, Iran announced that it would no longer abide by the old deal that Obama brokered and that Trump pulled out of. And two, a free hand in Iraq. The Iraqi parliament has since voted to eject the United States military from the country. Could Soleimani accomplish in death what he couldn't in life? Perhaps. But before I get to that, let's back up a bit and examine how we got here. March 2003. The United States invades Iraq. Saddam Hussein is toppled, and America decides to remove thousands of members of his ruling Ba'ath Party from their government jobs. That leaves thousands of armed men unemployed, fueling tensions between Sunni and Shia and opening the door to Tehran. Fast forward to November 2019. 700 pages of leaked Iranian intelligence reports paint a clearer picture of just how ingrained Iranian influence inside Iraq has become. Tehran sees opportunity in the chaos, paying off Iraqi agents and co-opting Iraqi leaders. If Iran can make a client state out of Iraq, its old enemy, that'll free its hand to fight its rivals elsewhere. And why wouldn't they? From Tehran's perspective, there's little to lose. Iran already on the so-called axis of evil list. And their old neighbor Saddam had already been removed from power. Now it's a democracy, and in a Shia majority country, of course, Iran has the most influence. Anyway, Iran suspects it's next, and the best defense is often a good offense. Proxies can do the dirty work. I'm talking about Iranian-backed paramilitary groups in Iraq, but they're also in Syria, in Yemen, in Lebanon, Bahrain, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Gaza, many of which, of course, long predated the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003. That constellation of proxies had been mainly coordinated by one man, General Qassim Suleimani. His killing was an enormous loss for Tehran. It prompted Iranian missile attacks against U.S. bases with no casualties. It was a massive de-escalation by Iran, a face-saving response essentially meant to do two things: placate the Iranians at home and avoid full-on war with the United States. In other words, the move is a chance for diplomacy. That is, of course, if President Trump is willing to take it.
Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world.
Either way, if the Iranians had no idea what the red lines from President Trump were before, they do now. For the past year, as U.S. sanctions destroyed the Iranian economy, Tehran really didn't know how far it could push back without a meaningful U.S. response. Strikes against tankers and an American drone, nothing. Even taking out 50% of Saudi oil, nothing. But killing an American contractor and injuring American soldiers when they hit a U.S. base in Iraq, and attacks against U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, the world's largest and most expensive, was too far. It also probably didn't help that Iran's supreme leader taunted Trump over Twitter, no less. That turned out to be false. Tehran's number two guy is now dead, and Iran, which is a lot weaker than the United States, remains a committed adversary, but they're hardly suicidal. The Iranian response was as minimal as possible, and so in the short term, this is a win for Trump. But that doesn't mean Iran won't capitalize in the longer term, especially with America increasingly persona non grata in Iraq. Remember, chess is popular in Tehran. And so it should come as no surprise that one of the oldest chess pieces ever uncovered was found in modern-day Iran, dated sometime around the year 790. That piece was a king.